You have walked hundreds of miles to see the promised land. You expect milk and honey, but what you see makes your blood run cold. We saw the Nephilim there. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. Think about that. Battle-hardened warriors felt like insects. This wasn't just fear of a strong army, it was a primal fear of something unnatural. Today, on Faith on Fire, we're investigating one of the biggest mysteries in the Bible. Who were the Nephilim? Were they just tall kings, or were they, as ancient texts suggest, the monstrous offspring of fallen angels? The answer unlocks the reason for the Great Flood and reveals a spiritual war that might still be happening today. To understand the terror in Numbers 13, we have to go back to the beginning. Genesis 6, verses 1 through 4. It describes a time when the sons of God saw the daughters of men and took them as wives. For centuries, scholars have debated this. Theory 1, the Sethite view. This suggests the sons of God were just the godly line of Seth marrying the ungodly line of Cain. Theory 2, the angel view. This is the view held by the ancient Jewish writers and the early church fathers. The phrase B'nai Ha-Elohim, sons of God, is used in Job to describe angels. If we take the text literally, something terrifying happened. Rebellious angels left their station in heaven to corrupt the human bloodline. This isn't just a campfire story. The book of Jude and 2 Peter in the New Testament both reference angels who did not keep their proper domain and are now kept in chains of darkness. What was their crime? Going after strange flesh. The Bible gives us the summary, but an ancient text known as the Book of Enoch gives us the details. While it's not part of our canonized Bible, it was widely read in Jesus' time and is even quoted by the Apostle Jude. Enoch describes these beings as the Watchers. It says they didn't just bring chaos, they brought technology. According to these ancient records, the Watchers taught humanity secrets they weren't ready for. How to make weapons of war, how to use cosmetics for seduction, and the dark arts of sorcery. The result? The Nephilim. The Hebrew word comes from Nephal, meaning to fall, or the fallen ones. These weren't friendly giants, they were tyrants, heroes of old, men of renown. Think of the Greek demigods like Hercules, superhuman, violent, and worshipped. The world was filled with violence because the very DNA of humanity was being corrupted. This explains why God sent the flood. It wasn't just that people were bad, it was that humanity was on the brink of being replaced by something else. So, God sends the flood to wipe the slate clean. Noah was chosen not just because he was righteous, but because he was perfect in his generations. His bloodline was uncorrupted. But wait, if the flood killed them all, why did the spies see them in Numbers 13? Why does the text say, there were Nephilim in those days and also afterward? We see the re-emergence of these giant clans in the land of Canaan, the Anakim, the Emim, and the most famous of all, the Philistines. When David stepped onto the battlefield against Goliath, he wasn't just fighting a tall soldier, he was fighting a remnant of the serpent's seed. This is why God commanded Joshua to destroy certain tribes in Canaan. It sounds harsh to our modern ears, but in the context of this spiritual war, Joshua was removing a genetic and spiritual cancer from the land to preserve the line of the Messiah. Let's fast forward to the time of Jesus. He takes his disciples to a place called Caesarea Philippi. This region was at the foot of Mount Hermon, the very place where, according to tradition, the fallen angels first descended. It was a center of pagan worship, a gate to the underworld. Standing in the shadow of this dark history, Jesus declares, "On this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." He wasn't just using a metaphor, he was picking a fight. He was standing on the enemy's turf, declaring that the time of the Watchers, the Nephilim, and the powers of darkness was over. The mystery of the Nephilim reminds us that the Bible is not just a book of morals, it's a history of a cosmic war. And the good news? The war is won. No matter how big the giants are in your life, they fall before the name of Jesus. If this deep dive opened your eyes to the supernatural side of the Bible, you're going to want to watch this video next, where we uncover the mystery of Melchizedek.